So the fall time of the year can be one of the most confusing times as an angler to try to catch fish. You've got cold fronts coming in, warm fronts still coming in from the summertime. You've got calm days, you've got super windy days. The fall can definitely be a mess. But one of the top ways I think to catch bass in the fall is with what's called a reaction bait. What are reaction baits and what are my top 3 for catching bass in the fall no matter where you are in the country? Let's talk about it. Well, how's it going, everybody, and welcome back to Tyler's Reel Fishing. As always, I am so excited that you guys are here to learn and grow as anglers along with me. We have a cool community growing here on Tyler's Reel Fishing, so thank you guys so much for watching. And as always, my goal is to help you guys become better bass anglers with every single video you watch. So if you are not subscribed, hit that subscribe button because we are all about learning here in the TRF community. So let's jump into it. So the topic of reaction baits is one of my favorites to talk about because, let's all be honest, it's one of the most fun ways to catch fish. Chunking and winding and getting those explosive strikes is one of the best ways to catch fish, in my opinion, the most fun, and can definitely catch you some of the biggest numbers of fish when it comes to basically all seasons of the year besides the summer. Don't really throw a whole lot of reaction lures besides big, deep crankbaits in the summer, but as soon as you start to get those cold fronts rolling through. I'm here in Minnesota right now. It is starting to get cold. We had a crazy cold front that actually forced us to switch lakes today to fish in a totally different place in the afternoon than we did in the morning because the fish just moved. And the reason that your bass are going to be on the move, I don't care if you're fishing in a pond, in a lake, on a big bass boat, in a creek, in a kayak, your fish are going to be on the move and they're going to be chasing those bait fish and those forage species. You know, I think everything besides crawfish likes to move around a ton. So whether you're talking about bluegills, perch, cisco, shiners, gizzard shad, any sort of bait fish those fish are going to be feeding on are going to be moving in the fall. They're going to be going from deep to shallow, shallow to deep, rocks to grass. Fish just in the fall love to move around. So tip number 1, make sure that you yourself are moving. So talking about bass boat, you guys real quick, or bass boat kayak, I guess I should say watercraft. You guys should actually be moving around. Going to the same exact honey holes you caught all your fish in the spring and the summer is probably not the smartest move because, especially in bigger lakes like the one I'm on today and the one you'll see the fish catches on later in this video, they're going to be chasing around those bait fish getting ready for the winter time. And so you're going to be wanting to move all around the lake because the places you caught them and the lures you caught them on yesterday might not be the same exact situation today and definitely won't be the same tomorrow. And the same goes for you guys that fish from the bank. You know, you may have less, places to throw your lures depending on how big your pond or ranch lake is, but there's definitely still times when your bass are going to move around at a faster pace than they used to be. And so I made a video on how I like to dissect a pond. I'll have it linked up here in the corner. That really applies to the fall time because you want to be consistently moving around your pond until you find a pot of fish in one area. And especially with how variable the fall weather is, there is no guarantees those fish are going to stay for very long. And so when it comes to fish that are on the move, they want to be eating lures that themselves are on the move. And that is what reaction baits are. They are lures that, as the name implies, cause the fish to react. Not every fish that sees a reaction bait go by its face is actually hungry. I would make the argument that in the fall time, a lot more of those fish are hungry because they're actually feeding up for the winter time lull. But a lot of the times reaction baits pass by a fish's head, something snaps and they go, I'm gonna eat that thing. Like their first line of defense is not running away, it is opening their mouth and eating the thing that just frightened or startled them. And so I'm going to talk about my top 3 reaction baits right now that cover basically every range of possibilities for cover, structure, and type of fish that you guys might have in your ponds or lakes. So starting at number 3, my third most favorite reaction bait for the fall, we're going to go with a spinnerbait. All right, y'all, we're gonna settle this once and for all. I do not anymore hate spinnerbaits. My hate for spinnerbaits is totally gone. I qualified for the national championship on spinnerbaits, one of my favorite lures out there to catch fish all around the country. So if y'all have been around the channel for a while, you may have seen that I used to hate them. I don't anymore, I like them now. And the reason why I love spinnerbaits is because they are, as I've talked about before in a spinnerbait video, a do-nothing lure. You can cast them out there, reel them straight back in, the skirt pulsating and the blades turning really give it all the action it needs. And so I love spinnerbaits, and I'm gonna kind of go into where I specifically throw a spinnerbait. And the spinnerbait for me definitely fits best in the heavy cover areas. I'm not talking as heavy cover as like the lily pads you see behind me. A spinnerbait into the pads, probably not the best idea. That's more of a swim jig, buzz frog type situation. But when it comes to fishing around lay down trees, bushes, heavy grass, I have found the spinnerbait is the best reaction lure for that because it's the most weedless. You know, the way that a spinnerbait runs in the water is like this, with the two blades on top. And anything it hits, it rolls right over. I rarely ever get a spinnerbait snagged in heavy cover just because of how weedless this lure is. So I'm going to talk about my other two reaction lures that are meant for more rock and more kind of scattered grass, scattered cover. But when it comes to heavy cover, so let's say you're fishing your pond from the bank and you've got a line of willow trees that you want to cast up next to, but you know those fish want something fast and flashy, a spinnerbait is definitely the best way to go for that. And the spinnerbait for me definitely fits best in the heavy cover areas. I'm not talking as heavy cover as like the lily pads you see behind me. A spinnerbait into the pads, probably not the best idea. That's more of a swim jig, buzz frog type situation. But when it comes to fishing around lay down trees, bushes, heavy grass, I have found the spinnerbait is the best reaction lure for that because it's the most weedless. You know, the way that a spinnerbait runs in the water is like this, with the two blades on top. And anything it hits, it rolls right over. I rarely ever get a spinnerbait snagged in heavy cover just because of how weedless this lure is. So I'm going to talk about my other two reaction lures that are meant for more rock and more kind of scattered grass, scattered cover. But when it comes to heavy cover, so let's say you're fishing your pond from the bank and you've got a line of willow trees that you want to cast up next to, but you know those fish want something fast and flashy, a spinnerbait is definitely the best way to go for that. And especially for you pond anglers, I know from experience, it is frustrating when you get your lures snagged because you don't have the availability of a trolling motor or a paddle to get yourself out to the piece of structure you have your lure stuck on to retrieve it. That way you don't lose $5, $10, $15 on a lure. A spinnerbait, in my opinion, is the smartest reaction bait for pond anglers because you're probably not going to lose a whole lot of these because of how weedless they are. Another situation in which the spinnerbait shines over the other two I'm going to talk about is going to be in wind, especially a very heavy wind that is just blowing against a bank. Spinnerbaits are amazing because those blades just catch any sort of sunlight and flash it all over the place and really gets those fish's attention when other lures in windy conditions just kind of pass them by and they don't hear them. Spinnerbaits definitely have a drawing power when it comes to wind and clear water, and especially if you have any kind of bait fish around. There are tons of different colors of spinnerbaits. I could go into this for hours and hours, but I'm going to save that for a spinnerbait specific video coming soon. So with number 3, the spinnerbait out of the way, my number 2 reaction bait for the fall time is going to be a Squarebill crankbait. The reason why a Squarebill crankbait, it comes in at number 2 for me rather than number 3 is because I fish a ton of lakes that are very rocky. And Squarebill, or I guess crankbaits in general, but especially Squarebills, do really good in those highland reservoirs. Those lakes that are super deep, whether they have dirty water or clear water, they've got a ton of rock. And that is where the Squarebill crankbait shines. Dragging this thing along the bottom of your lake, just dredging it, allowing it to hop off the bottom, bounce, deflect off those rocks, is going to get those fish to react, as a reaction bait implies. Do not try to throw a Squarebill around bushes, around heavy vegetation, because you're just going to get snagged all the time. A Squarebill for you pond anglers, I would say, is really only applicable for you guys that want to risk it or have lakes that are, more highland reservoir style ponds. So quarries, your steeper style banked ponds, those are where you're going to throw your Squarebills. But if you have a ton of shallow grass in your pond, any sort of snot grass, I would not recommend the Squarebill crankbait. This is more for your rocky situations. This Squarebill that I have here is the Strike King 4S. It is about the same size as the KVD 2.5 Squarebill, but it actually hunts, which means it kind of moves side to side at a more unpredictable and erratic action than a regular Squarebill does, but only dives to about 2.5 to 3 feet. So this is really a lure that you're going to grind across the bottom in very shallow water for those fish that are cruising the bank looking for a nice minnow to grab. So the gear that I throw a Squarebill on is my Lew's Custom Speed Stick Squarebill crankbait rod. Is a 6'9" medium heavy, I believe. Yeah, 6'9" medium heavy Squarebill specific crankbait rod. I've got the Pro TI with 15-pound Seaguar Abrazex You don't have to throw the Pro TI. I love throwing the BB1 Pro, or really any rod, any reel can throw a Squarebill well. You just want to make sure you have the proper rod for that, and I absolutely love this rod. I've had this rod in my arsenal for 4 years now. No intentions of ever taking this rod out of the arsenal. And I realized I did not talk about combo for the spinnerbait. This one is also one of my favorite rods. It is the TP1 Black Speed Stick by Lew's, the Spinnerbait Special. It is a 610 medium heavy. Similar to this rod is a little bit more whippy, a little bit less backbone on the 6.9 medium heavy than this 610 does. I swung a 6.5 pound largemouth into the boat on this exact combo right here. 15-pound fluorocarbon on this, and I've got the Strike King burner spinnerbait. And as always, I will have all the tackle that I talk about linked in the descriptions below. Please make sure to purchase your tackle through those links, whether or not they're the brands that I talk about. Whenever you shop through Tackle Warehouse, enter the website through the links in my video descriptions, and that helps me out a ton. And coming in at number 1 on my list of my fall reaction lures, really takes the cake on my reaction lures any season, anywhere across the country, and that is the Chatterbait. The Chatterbait, or the vibrating jig as I should call it, because I'm sponsored by Strike King, and of course Z-Man makes the Chatterbait, the name brand one. The Chatterbait is just one of those lures that can catch fish in any situation. I don't care if it's a rocky situation like the Squarebill, or a kind of scattered bushes, scattered vegetation like the Spinnerbait is good around. Now of course this is not great in heavy cover because the hook itself is exposed. Just like a swim bait jig head would be. Like if you were to take away the blade, that's literally just a swim bait jig head with a skirt on it. And the reason why I love this bait is because it's so versatile. It has enough vibration to catch fish in dirty water, but yet it is lifelike enough to trick those fish in clear water. You can let it sink and really slow roll it over an offshore flat or something that those fish are moving between deep water to shallow on their way there. Chatterbait can catch them in that situation. I'm going to be making a video probably very soon specifically about the Chatterbait itself. I make one of these videos once or twice a year because it's such a searched topic, and it's just fun to catch fish on a Chatterbait. The combo that I've always thrown a Chatterbait on has been the Lew's Custom Speed Stick 7.6 medium heavy Magnum rattle trap rod, but I've actually been playing around a little bit with the TP1 Black Speed Stick 7.2 medium. The 7.6 medium heavy is great because you get long casting distance, but I've just had some trouble setting the hook on that one recently, and I've had a little bit less trouble on the 7.2 medium. I have the Tournament MP reel with 17-pound fluorocarbon. So that is it right there. Here is the whole gambit of lures that I think would help you guys catch fish on reaction baits. I'm gonna have tons more videos coming out this fall, a few specifically about these individual lures, teaching you guys more about how to catch fish on all of these, but enjoy some fish catches from today's action out on the water.
Back side of this thing.
Okie doke.
Fish that line here.
Is that a fish? No. Oh yeah. All right, well, wait. Yes, it is. Holy smokes. Oh, well, I thought I had, oh gosh. Is that a big smallmouth?
I don't know.
Yeah, it is. It's a nice smallmouth. I thought I was shaking. Oh yeah, that was my fault. I was shaking that thing like I had grass for about 15 seconds.
It's like,
oh, what you got? That's big. Whatever that is.
nice fish, whatever it is.
Bass? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You want to flip him or you want to net? Oh yes! There we go! That's amazing.
That's a really nice one.
Yeah. On the Chatterbait.
Love it.
Gorgeous fish.
They're built to be 5-pounders.
Heck yeah.
That works.
We know what they're biting on, folks. So when you figure it out, stop goofing around and throw it. I'm telling myself that right now.
Uh-oh.
That's a fish though, on the buoy. On the buoy, my friend.
Oh, on the buoy?
There's a school of fish on the buoy. Hey, just come on up in here. Come on up in here, yes. Man. Some good fat fish right here on the Chatterbait. That's awesome. 2.5 pounder. We figured them out. We know what they're on. We probably did.
All the ones that want to
Oh. There he is, smallie. Gosh, on the Squarebill. I watched him, that was crazy. I watched him follow it in the grass and I paused it and he ate it. Oh, cabbage, get out of there. Nope, nope, nope. Oh gosh, come on. What are you doing, Connor? I should have power pulled down. Smallmouth on a Squarebill close to the boat is about the worst situation you can ask for. There we go. All right. Where can I grab him that's not scary? Right there. Beautiful little smallmouth. Not a big one, but you know what? Just over 2 pounds, we'll take it. You know guys, fall is definitely the time of the year that you can use a bunch of different reaction baits, and not all of them catch them every day out in the water, but you can definitely mix it up and you know, fish down one area with the Chatterbait, come back through with the Squarebill and catch some fish that you missed the first time. So awesome. Thanks for playing, buddy. There's one. What do we got? What do we got in the cabbage? Smallmouth. Smallie on the Squarebill. Oh, largemouth. Never mind. A nice one. Yeah, got him. Oh, he got his mouth shut around it. Thank you, amigo. Gosh, so fat. He's got a snaggle mouth.
Whoopsie.
Whoopsies. Thanks, buddy. All right, so they're in the cabbage on hard bottom. Got him. Got him. Largie. Big one. Big one. I'm sorry, Connor, I took your fish. Because you were getting a perch trailer. This is a nice one. Yes. Beauty of a fish. Right there on the Thunder Cricket. Ate it down there. Connor missed one. And so I made 2 casts and watched as he ate it. Beauty. You ever licked a bass?
So make any money.
There's one. There's one on the chatter. Just, man, right out in the open on a rock flat. Gotta cover water to find these fish. What kind of fish do I got?
I don't know.
It's pulling like a largemouth, not like a smallmouth, but oh, hello. Small, I think. Yep. Small jaw. Not a big one, but a pretty fish. Little small jaw. Well, thank you all so much for watching Tyler's Reel Fishing. Hopefully you learned a few things about reaction baits in the fall. Again, I just want to teach you guys how to become better bass fishermen, and hopefully you learned a few things today, so you guys can catch some big old chungus fish like this. We'll see you all next time.